Hello everyone, this is Damon with Easy Green Screen. This video is just a quick overview of the Easy Green Screen 5 user interface. When installed, Easy Green Screen will be in the filter menu in Photoshop. There are two startup options. There is the standard single mask extraction and there is dual mask extraction. I cover the differences between these in another video. For this video, I'm just going to use the single mask extraction. Version 5 does extract a little bit quicker than version 4. You can see that just took a few seconds. A dual mask extraction would have taken a few more seconds, but it's pretty fast. And if you're happy with your extraction, and in this case it looks pretty good, you could just hit apply, and that's going to export your extraction back into Photoshop. So then at this time you could go ahead and place this image into digital background or whatever composition you're making. I'm just going to undo this though. That way we can actually go over the features within the user interface. So I'll run this again. Version 5 does have a similar look and feel to it as version 4. However, there are some key differences. And to start out, I'm just going to start out going over the preview settings here. You can view your image against transparency, against color. You can also change the background color to whatever color you want to preview it against. You can preview the mask. You can preview your image against a background, which we don't have, but we could put a background in and then this would be previewing against the background. Or you can view the original image. I'll just set it back to transparency here. The next thing I'll discuss is the middle section of this user interface. This is the area where you would apply any adjustments that you want to make. All of these colored buttons, they will open up a new section of the user interface where you can make adjustments. And I'll just demonstrate here. We'll go into our mask settings. And unlike version 4 had pop-out windows for these adjustments. Version 5, everything happens inside the main window. So it actually flows a little bit better. And every area of the adjustments, you'll have this button that says back to main menu, this green button. Whenever you click on that button, it takes you back to the startup screen where you can access the other adjustments. So our mask adjustments here, those adjust anything with the transparency mask. I'm not going to go over these adjustments individually in this video. I do have other videos to discuss them in more detail. This is just an overview of the user interface. Now with your mask adjustments, you don't see very many here because we're in single mask. In dual mask, you would have more adjustments than this. The spill correction, I'll set this back to transparency here. From any of these adjustment windows, you can change the preview as well. But these spill correction adjustments, those adjust your green or your blue spill. And it's pretty much the same as version 4, except for you do have a few other options which I discuss in another video. The edge hair coloring, we're not actually going to be able to do this in single mask. As you see here, it says this feature is only available in dual mask. But what that is for is your fine strands of hair, the ones that you try to recover in the dual mask environment. You can actually optimize the lighting and color with this area of the user interface. Keep or remove areas. This is something new to version 5. And this allows you to make selections in your image and then force those selections to the foreground or the background. And you can also have control over whether those areas have spill correction or not. There's quite a few things you can do with this. And I do have an in-depth tutorial on this, so make sure to watch that tutorial. And then the composition tab, this allows you to add a background and then position your foreground and size your foreground to your background. And you can also adjust the lighting of your foreground and also the lighting of the background, which if I click on it now, it says we need to add a background first, but it does allow us to adjust the lighting to match it between the foreground and the background. Again, this is covered in another video. And then the last button here, this screen color check. This is something new to version 5. This is going to give you a basic analysis of your green or your blue screen lighting. This third row down tells you the average hue, saturation, and brightness for your screen. And the second area actually points to the hue of your screen, which you should pay close attention to, because if you fall really far outside that range, your extractions may not work quite as well, or that may indicate an issue with your post-processing, such as the white balance. And in this case, we're within the optimum range for green screen. We've got no warnings or cautions. If there were some warnings, it would tell you, for instance, it might say your screen is really dark and give you some more feedback on what issues that could cause. But in this case, our screen looks good, so I'll just exit out of here. New to version 5 is this output layer section, and this came about because of a lot of feedback. By default, it outputs all of the Easy Green Screen layers into Photoshop. Everything is non-destructive, so the user can make adjustments to the adjustment layers. However, a lot of people did not want that. Easy Green Screen works well enough most of the time, and a lot of people, they just wanted to export a single layer back into Photoshop. So you have the option to do that. And if you do that, it will output just one layer with transparency. And then you can also choose to output a single layer with a foreground and background. And if you have that selected, if there is a background in the image, or if you've added a background, it's going to flatten that image and merge everything into a single layer. If you choose the last option, the dual layer foreground plus background, if you have a background, it's going to output 2 layers. So you're going to get the top layer, that's this foreground with the transparency, and the bottom layer will just be your background. The user preferences in version 5, you've got quite a few more things you can set for preferences. That output layers that we just discussed, you can set your preference. So if you wanted the single layer foreground only, you could set that and save your preferences. Then by default, that would be your selection. You could still change that, but it would start up with your preferred value. So you don't have to change it each time to get your preferred value. There's also composition scaling, which we didn't talk about. I covered this in another video, but you can set your preference for how the final scaling happens when you make a composite image. And the other big thing here is you can set your default settings for your spill color range settings. And please watch the videos on the spill correction, because being able to set these default values can really help you optimize how Easy Green Screen extracts for your screen and your lighting conditions. The last thing here, which is exactly the same as version 4, is you have your presets, and let's say you made some adjustments and you wanted to save those as a preset. You could come in here and name that and save a new preset, and then that will be in the drop-down menu, so you could quickly apply your settings to your image. And then the last thing is your reset settings. If you've made a bunch of adjustments and you need to, or you just want to get back to the original extraction settings, you click this button here, and it will take you back to the original extraction settings and just basically reset everything. So anyway, that was just a brief overview. As mentioned, I do discuss all of these adjustments in much more detail individually in other videos, so please be sure to watch those as well. If you're interested at all in Easy Green Screen, please be sure to visit our website. That's easygreenscreen.com.